You are listening to the IFH Podcast Network. For more amazing filmmaking and screenwriting podcasts, just go to ifhpodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to the Successful Screenwriter Podcast, where we discuss anything and everything screenwriting. Here we interview successful screenwriters and filmmakers to find out just what it takes to make it in the industry. Just a heads up, this episode is brought to you by my book, The Guide for Every Screenwriter, which has been listed as one of the best screenwriting books of all time by the Book Authority. If you're looking for something that reveals the secrets of screenwriting in an easy to understand and engaging way, then this is the book for you. You can find The Guide for Every Screenwriter at thesuccessfulscreenwriter.com/books. Now, on to the show. Ann Kimbrough, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's fantastic to be here again. Once again, you're doing so well with your podcast. I love it. Great content.
It is funny watching it kind of evolve from the first episode, which you were so graceful to join me on. And thank you again.
My pleasure.
All right. So this episode, we're going to talk about really creating your own IP, your own intellectual property through the use of podcasting. And I know this is something you've done as well with the iScary podcast, which is it's a charming podcast. It's so cute. So most horror podcasts out there, they really try and be super scary and they really try and get you on edge. You take a nice different approach to it. You take a lighter approach to it where you talk about real scary things that are happening and then get opinions from everybody, but you put in like fun sound effects during the recreation of the event, which I just think so cute. I love it.
Thank you. Well, that was the thing. I had someone say, "Oh, I can't listen because I don't like it to get scared." And I'm like, the title, I guess, maybe is misleading, but it is scary, weird news items, and we're sort of digesting them for everybody to just we laugh a lot. I think it's more like nervous laughter, but we do laugh a lot and go, what would you do if you were in this situation? And so it's more fun and I kind of feel like it does a public service, like it's warning us all, don't get in this situation. But if you are, this is what you should do.
No, I think it's great. You bring on some awesome guests as well. So that way you can really kind of analyze these situations. But I think it's cool that you make it so approachable. So
thanks.
Give me a little bit about what led to the formation of the iScary podcast and how you've been creating your own IP as an indie screenwriter and producer.
Yeah, when I met with you, that was over a year ago when we first sat down and did your first podcast. I was just starting doing the audio dramas. And to me, that was a natural transition for screenwriters because audio dramas are like radio theater and enhanced audiobooks basically is what I was doing. And I thought it was a great way to get your content out there in a produced fashion that you can't do as a screenwriter by yourself. Right.
Yeah.
So I had just started that a year ago and it was progressing, but and there was no time limit on it because you're just releasing like it seemed like chapters of a book almost. And I was people liked it, but it was like heavily intensive when it comes to editing.
I bet.
So and then of course the pandemic was a big decider of you were stuck at home. What are you going to do? And I was stuck at home with my adult son. So I wanted to pull him in and he was totally out of work because he's a sound tech for big shows. Like he works on the Vegas Strip doing this big show Opium. So he knows sound and he didn't want to be part of the talent. He wanted to be a producer on it. So it gave us something to do together. You have a son, so you could sort of relate that it was really cool to do something with him when we're both, stuck in the house. And so that's when we developed the idea to do iScary, which he picked it. I went and Googled what were the most popular genres for podcasting. Because, the bigger market than audio dramas is like a news or sports or self-help. Those are the most popular podcasts. So he picked scary because horror was high up there too. So we just developed it over several months to find out what we thought we could create, how we could create it, how to record it, and we just launched it in Halloween of this year.
Oh, nice.
So we took our time developing it. I also recorded all the shows before we even launched the first one because I wanted a stable of them ready to go. We've
Good.
released 10 so far, but I've recorded
Wow.
22. So, and I'm editing. I think I'm on number 17 because as you heard, there's a lot of sound effects. So we
Yeah.
really I sort of listen to NPR a lot, so I went in with how they do the news, where they'll be interviewing someone and you can hear if they're at a factory or, if they're on a field of battle or whatever, you hear
Yeah.
it. So a part of that happens in our show too. So that's how it developed. And it's just all along the way, I kept saying, this is the plan. If it fails or falls apart, that's okay. But it kept developing and it didn't. We reached our goals. So
Oh, I think that's amazing. And
yeah.
I mean, you bring a level of quality to the show, which makes it feel like, yeah, I want to keep listening to this because, there are a lot of podcasts out there that either they're still trying to figure out the show or they're not exactly sure what they're going for. And so they stumble a bit as they're trying to find their voice. I mean, you developed this thing from the beginning. You like, this is what I want to do. This is the niche we want to go for. You did all the research, right? To how do I make
Mhm.
this a hit? And you strategized and I mean, it looks like it
We
pulled it off.
tested.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah,
And you
because it
tested.
took the very first episode, my son listened to it, what I'd edited, and he goes, "Oh no, this has to be there and that has to be there." And I had to do a major re-edit. But he was right, and that's why it was really fun to throw it against somebody else. So I know taking on this as a screenwriter, to say taking all this on, you don't have to do it all yourself. Your friends are talented too. It's amazing within this industry how we can find actors. I pulled in a lot of the guest hosts
Yeah.
are actors, so they brought a lot of energy
That's
to
awesome.
it. So I would say if it would scare someone listening to start their own podcast, see who are your close friends that might want to do it with you, because then it takes the burden off.
Yeah.
But someone still has to be the driving force. So that was me.
You're absolutely right. I edit every episode, and I have to tell you, my God, it is overwhelming.
Huge.
And you talk about working with your kid, and my kid is really interested in film.
Yeah. He's
He
very
talks.
talented
Oh,
too. I
thank
mean,
you.
he really is.
He talks about wanting to be a director or editing, and he
Mhm.
reads all these storybooks I get from authors who want to be on the show. So I said, okay, guess who's editing my show now?
Excellent.
So
Oh, if you
he
could pass
comes
off
in.
editing, that's
I
great.
know. So he comes in and he edits it, and we're on a like, okay, if you edit this, then Daddy will go get you, whatever video game you want or whatever. So
Cool.
he's editing the show, and he spends his time doing it, and it's just kind of cool to loop him in a little bit, but he is getting more interested in that type of thing. So yeah, I think bringing in your family and relying on your friends, but that's what I did to start this show. Like, I worked my network. I mean, I was, okay, who's the coolest producer I know who knows how to pitch Ann Kimbrough episode 1? You know what I mean?
Thank
So
you.
use
Yeah,
your,
so you do
yeah,
the same thing. We all need to do that. And the thing is, I was so happy to help, as will your other friends be happy to help. Especially during a pandemic, it was really easy to get people.
oh,
But
yeah,
but even now, everybody understands doing stuff remotely, and podcasting can be done remotely. Especially if the main way that podcasting, the most popular form, is interview. So if you can
yep,
find your niche within that, which I feel like that's what iScary found,
yeah,
that there isn't another scary news commentary show. I mean, although I'll take
right.
it back, there is a news commentary. So on Apple, podcasts, there are 72,000 podcasts in my category of news commentary, which
Wow.
I imagine most of them are actual news.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is actual news, but I mean like daily, day-to-day news. And we ranked, our best ranking was 200 in the United States and 88 in
Wow.
Canada
And but that's
out of
for yeah,
72,000. I
and for a
was
new show,
whoa,
that's
for a new show.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's wild.
it's
And
good.
it's good to niche down when you're working in a podcast, and you'll
It's a
get
good point.
some podcasts that they'll try and have this giant umbrella because they think they're going to capture everything, but the problem is that they lose listeners because nobody knows what to listen to. So I mean, I've niched down and really tried to leverage the community. Um, and have that be that voice for screenwriters and be the bridge for screenwriters to, big Hollywood producers or screenwriting gurus or as
So smart. And
Joanne
so
has.
good. That's the perfect. I mean, you're speaking to people, well, what they want to hear. And
Yeah.
that's what you need to find. And I agree 100%. If you go for a niche, you can get the bigger audience eventually. But otherwise you'll get lost if no one
it's
knows what
true.
you are.
And
right?
it takes a long time to grow.
Takes a
Like,
long
I mean,
time.
there are podcasts that are like, oh, I got 4,000 downloads in a month. And I'm like, okay, but that's not typical.
Not realistic. Yes.
The other thing I actually want to mention, because I don't think a lot of writers think about this, is, when you're first starting out, you really want that writer's credit. You really want to build out your IMDb. Well, a podcast can be considered a TV show on IMDb. So you can start your
I need to put mine on. I haven't done that yet.
Absolutely.
Look what, thank you.
See, you're welcome.
I'm like,
That's
there's
hilarious.
so much on the checklist, but you're right.
Yeah.
That needs to be there. It's totally a credit, a
Yeah.
huge credit.
So you can build out your IMDb credits by starting your own podcast show and
What's
putting
cool
it.
is someone can then go listen to it. So it's not like one of those
Yeah.
credits they don't really know what you did.
Right.
They can actually go find it and go, hey, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. And you can do that. You can do that for cheap. I mean, to invest in podcast equipment, you're looking at, like, if you're not doing video, if you're just doing audio, you're looking at about $250. It's not going to break the bank if you start
There's a lot
looking
of free
at audio.
services that are very good. I use Zencaster to record with my remote guests.
Yeah.
You're using Zoom. Zoom has a free service.
Mhm.
You and I have sort of leveled up and we have better microphones, but I've done it with people with their earbuds. Totally work good.
Yep.
You just you do have to watch a little bit about that stuff, but I think it's practice to get the sound that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of show it is, there is a level of, it doesn't have to sound like crisp. Like if I'm doing an audio drama, it has to sound 100% like you're in the room with me and crisp.
Right.
If I'm doing an interview, I'm not as worried about that.
Right. No, I'd agree with you. I mean, I think you have to find whatever you're doing, find that consistency, and then working with, when you're interviewing guests, that's where it's like, okay, if you have ear pods, put them in. Please don't record in a room with hardwood floor.
Yes.
Maybe make sure the dogs are fed. Don't flush any toilets.
You don't want to edit out some of that stuff. It's pain.
It is.
So pretty much what you record is all you're going to have. You can sweeten it, I call it. There are systems you can run it through, but you're never going to get it away from really bad recording. If it sounds like they're 5 miles away from the microphone, you cannot fix that. And that's the worst sound, I think.
It's true. I've had to re-record a few guests before.
Sure,
trying to make, and that's the worst thing ever. But
that is the thing about podcasting, is that I learned, just before the pandemic last year, I went to the podcasting expo in Orlando.
Wow.
Is it Orlando? No, where's Disneyland is in Orlando. And it was great. And it was so, everyone's so friendly in podcasting. It's very welcoming. There's a lot of community out there that you can join and be part of, remotely even. But the biggest thing I learned was that you just need to start. And then from there, you can improve. So
yeah, absolutely.
Don't let it stop you if you don't have the perfect equipment. Start with something and improve on it.
Listen, guys, you can go to the first episode where I interviewed Ann Kimbrough, and you can hear me bumping the mic with my headphones. So, I mean,
I can hear the room. I listened back to it just to see what we talked about. Yeah, I think I was recording. I definitely had the earbuds with my phone.
Yeah.
It was my phone.
But still, that episode is one of my most downloaded episodes.
That's cool.
First
ones usually are.
Yeah, and people keep coming back to the show. So I mean, people understand you're going to get better with time. And as far as like landing guests goes, if we're doing interviews, it's pretty crazy. As your show gets more popular and builds up, the guests start coming. I mean, before, I remember I got to the point where I was like, I've run out of people I know that are in the industry that are doing well. I don't know what to do. So then I started leveraging like LinkedIn and contacting people on LinkedIn, got them on the show. But then word got out. Next thing you know, I have agents for talent calling me and pitching me, new release films. And I say, well, I keep the show quality. I'm not going to have on a really bad film. So they'll
Good.
set those. So I get screeners and I watch screeners and then I
Ooh.
decide who's going to come on the show. I have big publishers that send me books to read to see if
Wow.
I can have the author on. So I'll read the book. If it's garbage, I won't bring
That's
him
excellent.
on. But if it's good, they come on the show.
See,
So
these
like,
are the perks. These are the
it's,
perks of
yeah, I
this,
have
right?
like it's crazy.
Something else
So,
to think about when you're picking your genre, what you want to do.
oh no, it's totally it. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome being able to like get a film and watch a film that's like 3 months before its release.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's fun. It's cool. And then the other thing about podcasting is like the thing that nobody talks about is that it is networking.
There's a lot of
You're
promotion.
building out your network.
Since so when I launched the first the show on Halloween, I had 5 episodes out. You sort of want something, if you're going to put a lot of effort into paying for something or promoting it and getting out there or asking all your friends to watch, that kind of thing, you want to give them something to watch. So yeah, so I had 5 shows out, and so now I'm up to 10 out, and I just had my first person reach out to me and want to be a guest on my show.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
she's a female comedian, and I checked her out. I'm like, sure, let's do it. I've already
Yeah.
recorded it, and I'm going to work it into season 1 because it's really fun to have a legitimate person reach out to you and go. And that was only with like 8 shows she found me,
That's
but it was
amazing.
because of I promoted it on Facebook and she saw it somewhere.
No, that's fantastic. And it's great to see that the community is helping you promote that and that you're getting that kind of interest.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time to well, a long time. It's taken me over a year to get this
That's
show.
still fast. That's still
Is
fast.
it? I don't know.
Well, and you
but
probably didn't pay for any. I've been paying for promotion. I boost posts on Facebook.
that's awesome.
I paid for a Spotify ad, and I wanted to do all that. I figured it depends on what kind of budget you have. So I don't want to say it's necessary, but I
Right.
wanted a big launch. I wanted to see if it was worth to keep doing it, if people liked it. And the only way you can do that is to really get it to an audience you don't know that aren't
Yeah.
your friends.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I started out, this was a different show and I was trying to find its legs. And then Alex Ferrari, who runs Indie Film Hustle, saw what I was trying to do. And he's like, listen, I think we rebrand the show, we bring you on to my network, and I think you're going to do great. And so he believed in what I was trying to do and helped me really brand this
That's cool.
to what
Well,
it
once
needed to
again,
be.
You picked the right thing, and
Yeah.
that would be great. I'd love to be pulled into a network. Those are like the mystery magic words. A network. How do you get into a network?
Yeah,
They
it's
promote you, they add advertising. Yeah, so sponsorships, all that's on my agenda.
yep.
But you have to be around a while. You have to have some numbers of some sort.
I have
to
no
get there,
doubt that
but
I have no doubt that you're going to get there.
thank you.
Just
We talk
because
again in a year, we'll see where we're at.
maybe this is going to
We're
be a thing
also
where I bring you on yearly.
yearly, okay, it's a date, but it's like it's like you're building something. That's why for screenwriters, I feel like for my inner screenwriter, it's so nice to have so much more control than you have just writing a movie and trying to get it into the right hands. And I'm not saying don't do both, but it's a nice balance for your ego.
No, and it's an IP, and you can do what you want with it. I mean, a lot of writers will create an IP show that they then will try to pitch to TV or try to pitch into like a graphic novel or anything like that. So building your IP and getting that fan base can be huge. I mean, go ahead.
Well, I was saying, so HBO, Netflix, Amazon, they've done shows like Lore, Homecoming, Dirty John. Those have all started out as podcasts, and the list is quite large now of how many have gone on to be noticed by Hollywood. Plus, as a screenwriter, you're always like, when you're pitching yourself, you're like, I don't know what to say about me. Well, you can say you created a podcast, and so it shows that you're not just someone sitting at home waiting for someone to do something for you. I think producers love a go-getter.
Yeah.
That's also going to be out there doing stuff.
Well, it's just you're talking story now. Are you the active or the reactive central character, right?
Exactly.
So, yes, stay active in your path. Absolutely.
Be the protagonist you want.
Be the protagonist that you want to be. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. So, with branding out though, like the Successful Screener started out as a podcast. It's it's grown into a website now with a free membership where people can sign up. They can get access to Oscar nominated screenplays. We've got, instructional videos for free. We've got seminars like you've done for
That's
us,
important.
so we
Well,
have,
you have slowly collected all this data, and now
Yeah.
you're finding a great way to make it all work for everybody. It's
Yeah.
great because I mean that's all free, and listening to podcasts is really quite free. There's so, you can go on and see other services that you offer that are very useful for writers.
Right.
But it's nice that there's this whole level of content that is really useful and doesn't cost anyone anything to go and use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the free membership, and then you can tier it up if you want to have like for a couple bucks a month supporting. Eventually what I'm going to do is make it so that I'll do a Q&A monthly with supporters. And so then they'll have access and they can ask me anything, and for just a couple bucks a month. And what that does is it supports the show, right? It pays for all the things, but then I get to be interacting with you as well. So I mean, there's ways to do it so that it helps everybody.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So what else? What other kind of tips do you have for us on, we only have a couple minutes left, on really leveraging an IP and getting your voice out there and separating you from the pack? Dead silence. I've lost her.
Yeah. Sorry. I think
come back
it
to
says my internet connection is playing with me.
Oh no.
It's okay. You're coming back now. This
Oh,
is
wait.
why you get to edit. That's why editing comes in
Yes,
so handy.
we will edit this out.
Edit it out. I think what you're saying is that, yeah, how else? So podcasts to me help you with helping your ego, your writer's ego, because you're
Oh
going to
my
create
God.
something and put it out there.
It's true.
It also helps you with creating a credit that you can also, like you so wisely said, get on IMDb. You can blog about it. It's so nice to be able to put posts out there that aren't just, hey guys, I need an agent. You can say, hey, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I had a friend recently that she'd written her own book, and so she just created a book cover and she put it out as a blog post or a post on Facebook, and it said, I wish I could get this into the right agent's hands because, I finished this book. I made a cover for it. And somebody that she knew said, hey, I know an agent.
That's awesome.
So, it's one of those, it's a nice way to ask for help without having to directly beg. It's like, this is what I'm doing. And if someone sees that as a way that maybe they could help you, they will. And that's so organic. It's the best way to make connections.
No, absolutely. And you can be like me where you're totally shameless and just run an ad for your book during your own podcast.
Hey, why not? Why not? It's related. It's not like you're writing it's not like it's one of your sci-fi books.
That's hilarious. No, but really it is. It does help you find your own voice. I mean, when I started, I was really, pretty nervous and struggled with a bit of insecurity. And then as I got more comfortable with me and more comfortable with the platform, I really started to be able to find my best version of me. And so, and now that carries on with me wherever I go. So you can really, really take this platform and utilize it as a way of actually kind of growing as a person a little bit. I know it's a little heady, it's a little ridiculous.
I love it. This is good. It's self-help as well.
I know, it's silly. All right, but so the iScary podcast, is it available? Where's it available at? It's on iTunes.
It's on anywhere you download music. Yeah. Okay. It's on Apple. You can also go to iScary.buzzsprout.com. That's my hosting platform is Buzzsprout. I also have a website, which is iScaryStory.com. So everything's there. When I started the idea, I did start blogging these weird news stories. Nice. And that's where I pull everything that we actually talk about. But yeah, it's great because you mentioned that too. Having a blog in conjunction when you're starting is a great way to slowly build some notice of what you're going to finally put out there as a podcast. So
yeah,
don't forget blogging.
It's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing. Like you got to dedicate time to this if you're going to do it.
It is. Yeah. And that's another reason why you take a few months to or half a year to start it and develop it, is because you're figuring out how to integrate that into your day-to-day life. And so I think that's the goal, not to make yourself crazy. You still have other writing goals, I'm assuming, especially your audience will. You don't want to derail what else you're doing. This is just a nice companion piece to create something else that can work with what you're trying to do as a screenwriter. It can only be a benefit, not a negative, if you don't let it be a negative.
It's just like, for me, the worst aspect is the social media part of it, where you have to where you have to put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on Twitter. And then
there are programs that help you do that. But
exactly.
I do that a lot. I have to, but I always see a bump in my downloads when I do it. So it's always encouraging.
It does. It makes a difference. And then, so I'm
have to find it. I love it. You're helping them.
I'm an older guy, so I do the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's it. But I know other screenwriters that will do TikTok. They'll do Clubhouse, and so like the younger generation will do TikTok and Clubhouse. I don't have time for it, so I just like, this is I do I got my top 3. That's where you're gonna find it. Maybe
get your son to do it.
I know. I was like, hey, listen, if any listeners to the show who want a TikTok for the show, feel free to reach out.
This is great.
And we'll talk about it.
Way to get to know Geoffrey. Yeah, you should.
All right.
You need like an intern like that.
I've been working on it.
Oh, good.
I've been working on 5.
You're my idol.
Oh my God, stop it. I've had a couple of people that have come on and helped out with some of that stuff, because it is cool. The show is getting bigger, so as it grows,
you have to have.
It's
more
getting
help.
harder. Yeah. Sure. So I have people coming in and they do some blogging now, and so, and then I offer them like mentorships in exchange. Like, come in and then I'll help mentor your screenwriting. So, all right. Well, and it's been awesome to catch up with you after a year and to see all the beautiful, amazing things you're doing. I mean, you've been an idol for me, so I can only appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on and promoting iScary. I love that about you. You're always so generous. So thank you so much. This is a great community, and screenwriters, we have to stick together. There's many ways we can all get there together.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to have you on. You're always a fountain of knowledge, and it's a quality show. Hey, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter by using my handle @ScreenwriterPod. And if you liked the show, please support it by subscribing and sharing the episode on your social media.